Good evening, gladiators in suits. I missed you guys. I was planning to go online yesterday, but I was just too tired from our talk. We went to the south yesterday for a talk, so I was so tired. Wasn't able to do a live session after that. But here we are, and we're going to be embarking with an exciting topic for tonight, something that we all struggle at work. So tonight's topic is going to be about how. Wait, sorry, let me fix my microphone. How do you gracefully say no at work? How do you gracefully say no to someone who is asking you for a favor, asking you to do additional job, additional work? You want to give your best, but you think that it's too much. And you think that this has to stop, for example. So we're going to talk about that in today's session. Could you please give us an exclamation mark or a like or a heart? By the way, if you're just jumping in, also, I think I'm getting a migraine. We It's going to be a very busy week for us. We have a total of seven talks lined up. Three of them are virtual, four of them are on site. Not complaining, by the way, it's a happy problem. But it can be such a headache when you are stuck in a car for an hour. And you know how Metro Manila is. We don't have trains that get us from point A to point B in just 30 minutes. We ride cars, and even if it's just a 5 kilometer ride, it could be a 1 hour ride. So yes, I definitely think that the pandemic has ended. No, you think so? Can I get an exclamation mark? Do you guys agree? I think it has ended because our clients have been confidently doing live sessions already. Roy Christian, by the way, on LinkedIn is asking, are you talking more about not hurting the feeling of the receiving person? Yes, that's part of it. Part of being able to say no is being brave enough to say it, but also being sensitive to how the recipient is going to perceive you. It's an art. Okay. So we're going to talk about that in today's session. You can give us some case studies like, John, I my boss is offering me a promotion, but I don't think I can handle it. I also don't like the additional work. How can I say no without hurting their feelings as if I'm not being grateful for the opportunity that they are given to me? Okay. Uh, Tomark Abbas says hello. Good evening from Makati. Thank you for joining our session tonight. Trixie on TikTok is saying, Sir, totoo talaga na toxic kapag Pinoy ang kasama sa work, nasa abroad at may Pinay na pabida. I don't think it's a Filipino thing. I think it happens across all cultures. If you happen to be in a foreign land and there's another person who comes from your same country, you're able to predict more the person's actions because you know their culture. And sometimes that predictability allows you to anticipate the bad things that they're going to do. And so it's more of understanding their actions rather than it's because Pinoy sila. Okay? Not being biased here, but I think it cuts across all cultures and races. But yeah, I get that feeling too sometimes. One example of that could be when you're traveling abroad and you're in a grocery. I'll give an example. Since I just came from Japan, when you go to Tokyo, it's so normal that to go to Don Quixote, which is their store for all their souvenir items and their gifts and all their groceries, liquor, and all these things. It's so normal to pass by a Filipino family also buying the same stuff. And sometimes you can be irritated because you hear things that you don't want to hear about, right? So that's not because they are Pinoy. It just so happens that you get to understand how they speak and what they're thinking. Okay. John Alcazar says he's watching from Doha, Qatar. Qatar is 4 hours earlier. Am I right? Patricia, very interesting and relevant topic. How long this session will be? Patricia, we do this as much as I can every night, and it happens for 1 hour. And if you miss out the entire session, you can catch it again. This is archived. You can watch the replay in the live or video section of Facebook, LinkedIn, or YouTube. Iris Macaranas is stating this on Facebook. Let me display your question now, Iris. Iris is asking, how to tell my boss gracefully to work than passing the workload to us, especially when someone resigns and there is no backfill. I've had this kind of experience when I have a boss who passes on their job to me. The one thing that will make them not pass it on to me is to tell them the repercussions if you're giving it to someone who may not be the best person to do it. So you can say, boss, you know me. I will always say yes to these things. But I think you're the expert. And when it comes to X, Y, and Z, the best person to do that is you. I think it will only complicate and make the project longer if I'll be the one to do it. I'll end up asking questions. I'll end up doing X, Y, and Z. May I suggest I can help you on other things, but for the specific item, I think it's better that you do it instead. I would say something like that. Okay. I would also, another tactic is to tell my boss, okay, boss, let me cover that for you. But does this mean that the other project that you're asking me to do, I'm going to bump down its priority? Because, boss, I won't be able to do both things at the same time, right? The law of impenetrability states that you can only occupy matter. No two matter can occupy the same space at the same time. That also covers for projects, right? You've already assigned me projects 1, 2, and 3. I want to accomplish them. But if you're also passing this to me, which is totally fine with me, can I negotiate? Can I bump down the project you assigned to me yesterday as priority number 6? I will put this into priority number 1. Why is this important? You want your manager to appreciate that they can't just keep on dumping as if it was an unlimited buffet, that there is an unlimited amount of time. It doesn't work like that. Something has to give. Okay? And there's a way to say that as long as you are respectful. Always make some disclaimer such as, boss, you know me, I'm game for these things. However, and then you share your reasons why. Okay? Iris, I hope I was able to answer your question quickly. That's question number 2. By the way, I forgot. I'm aiming for 15 questions for tonight. Okay. Joel Barnachea says, hello, watching from Kuwait. Thank you. I think Kuwait is also 4 hours away, no? Because I've noticed this. We have lots of viewers from the Middle East because this is one of the better times to also watch. It's after your working hours. Okay. Let's answer a question from TikTok. Ooh, I like this. From Nikiru. How do I deal with my closest workmate who has been promoted? I don't want to work under him. Uh, Unfortunately, when you say an absolute no, you only have two options. Either one, you find a way to get out of the situation, which means get moved to a different department or move to a different company. Or number 2, swallow the bitter pill and tell to yourself, what can I do to make the most out of this situation, even if I don't want to report to this close friend of mine? You can look at advantages. I think your relationship is strong, which means that your boss can't just easily be bossy to you. I think you can ask for favors at some point. I think, and sometimes you also have to diagnose your insecurity. Are you not comfortable working with your boss because you don't like the fact that you could have been the boss instead? Could that be one? Number 2, is it because you don't like that your relationship is going to be unequal now and someone's going to have an upper hand? Is that your reason? Identify what those emotions are because you will be able to appreciate what exactly is driving this feeling. Okay? That was question number 3. Okay, question number... Tanjiro licked my ear, my dog, and now it's itching so much. Okay. Monette on TikTok is asking, what is your take on siloed culture? Silo, by the way, means that people do things on their own. Departments or teams do not talk to each other and they don't want to coordinate, right? What is your thought about this? It's taking a toll on me as a newcomer, especially at a toxic startup. Sometimes you have to want to be abrasive enough. I'm going to use that word. Sometimes you have to be abrasive and nudge people and say, hi, can I do a one-on-one with you? Can I ask you certain questions for 15 minutes? Huddling them one by one and building relationships allows you to break down the walls such that even if they have their own silos, and by the way, this is your advantage because you're a newcomer, you're not yet labeled as if you're part of a certain family or a certain clan, which means you're neutral. And that's a good thing because that means you can easily penetrate different silos of different groups. Take advantage of that. Okay? Build relationships in your first 2 weeks in the company. Okay? That's question number 4. Question number 5. I've answered this before, but let me answer it because I think a lot of people also are interested to answer this. John, according to Vaughn, I want to know your insights on postgraduate studies like MBA. Does MBA still matter? It does, I think. It does depending on your objectives. If you look at Ivy League MBAs, for example, and there are a lot of studies circling around this, a lot of people take an MBA not because they just want to learn, but because they want to build on networks. Eventually, their classmates in MBA school become their potential clients or their potential partners in business. And so MBA does that for you. If your goal in taking up an MBA, which is a traditional route, which I'm not a big fan of, is your company guarantees that if you have an MBA degree, it will increase your salary by X amount of pesos or dollars. Go for that route. But I'm not a big fan of that because I don't like my promotion to be based on additional knowledge. I want my promotion to be based on me being able to consistently show that I have been exceeding expectations. I've been performing spectacularly well in the company, for example. And I'm always going to say this, I'm going to be that boss who will be biased to prefer someone who has a wealthy amount of experience versus someone who hasn't had much experience yet and they have an MBA degree. Let's face it, guys, regardless of what school you have attended, at the end of the day, experience holds a lot of water. Can I get an exclamation mark? MBA schools are going to be conceptual. You're going to be lucky if your MBA school allowed you to do internships, allowed you to do case simulations such that a lot of practical tips and a lot of practical applications are being learned. But not all MBA schools are like that. I don't want you to be stuck reading a book, reading accounting principles or case studies from IKEA and Coca-Cola, but you don't get to apply that in the real world. Okay? So it depends on your objectives, Vaughn. Okay? Okay, let's answer another question here. Let's answer a question this time. Question number 5 on TikTok. Christina is asking, can a company cancel a job offer that's already accepted? Yes, because the job offer does not guarantee that you have a job. What guarantees that you have a job is the employment contract. Can I get the letter C if that's clear? Christina, if you're also interested, go to our Facebook page, go to the live section. Our live stream last week covered this part on quitting. We had lots of questions answered about this. Okay, Ayen on TikTok is asking, what can happen to me if I do not render the 30 days upon resigning in a probationary period? What are the pros and cons? Likely your company is going to withhold your last month's salary. So if it's July, you have 30 days to render, but you did not finish that, they're going to withhold it because they say that you still owe them additional work and you have not properly turned over the work. It's also going to be probably a bad reference for you if someone from another company asks about how you performed in your past companies. They're going to tell them that you did not properly turn over your tasks when you left. And that's not a good point if you're applying for a new job. Okay? Okay. Athena. Okay. Interesting question. You know, my dad asked this for me as well. What will be your advice to a 50-year-old still wanting to have a career? However, most company prefer young individuals. I agree, of course. And that's not because we're being ageist. It's because I think when you're younger, you tend to have more energy and lesser responsibilities. What I would go for is to have a deep dive researching on the internet specific companies that are not into younger industries. I'll give an example. Obviously, the call center industry prefers younger folks who are willing to go the extra mile. Maybe Athena, if you can also specify what industry are you into? Creative agencies, I think, has a lot of space for that. I have met a lot of freelancers and I've met a lot of graphic designers I've met a lot of writers. I've met a lot of media practitioners who are in their 50s and are able to be flexible to move from one place to another because it does not know any age limits. Plus, this is an industry wherein the art industry is biased towards wisdom over the years that you have spent exercising in that industry. Okay. So easier said than done, but it depends on the industry. And I think you need to do a deep dive researching which companies offer that. One example also, I think you can easily find a job if the company is selling products and services that are also oriented towards the Gen X. Why? They prefer people who know how to use the product, who likely are using the product, and who have reasons to use the product. Okay. I hope I can answer that. I've answered your question. Pharmaceutical industry, insurance industry, real estate industry. These are industries wherein you need to be relatively older to appreciate the products. I think they can be opportunities for you. I sell Janaban on Facebook is saying, currently reading your books, Jonathan. Thank you. For those that are joining us for the first time, we have books available at National Bookstore, also in Fully Booked. One of them, I have a copy here. This is Fast Forward. And our books are all about career management and success. They're also translated in Vietnamese. So if you happen to be in Vietnam, they're available in Saigon bookstores. If you happen to be in the Middle East, they're available in Magrudi's bookstores. If you're in Malaysia and Singapore, they're available in Kinokuniya and MPH as well. Okay. You can also catch our books in Lazada and Shopee, of course. The book is 399 pesos only. And if you buy a bundle of 4 books, all the 4 titles, they also get a significant discount. Okay. Let's answer another question on TikTok. Ooh. Ethan is asking, any book recommendations apart from yours, of course? Okay, I was about to say that. My favorite book, uh, a lot. So one is Grit by Angela Duckworth. Of course, you guys know how I'm such a big fan. I'm a fanboy of Dr. Angela Duckworth's work. Grit is one. Another book is Start with Why by Simon Sinek. And that's a book about in everything that you do, if you happen to be a boss cascading a new project to your teams, don't just cascade the instructions, cascade the reason why they're doing it. Always answer the question, what's in it for me? So that book is about that. And it's a very amazing management book. Simon Sinek is the author. I'm also a big fan of that. Um, all the books of this behavioral psychologist, his name is Dan Ariely. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing his name correctly. Ariely, Dan Ariely, I think. And his books are Irrationally Rational. I think there's a book about honesty. I forgot about that. I haven't read that yet. But Irrationally Rational is one of my favorite books. He talks about why people think a certain way and why we are hardwired to think in a certain way. And successful people are able to mitigate the way we think. So there. Okay, let's answer some more questions. Dre is asking on TikTok. Okay. A piece of advice to a newly promoted senior associate. Every time that you are promoted, you have to let go of the execution hat. What is the execution hat? I'm going to wait for instructions. If it's not being said to me, I will not do it because I might ruffle the feathers. Let go of that mindset. When you're promoted, you need to have a corporate hat. A corporate hat is, it's not just about what's best for me, it's about what's best for the organization. So the more you think like a manager, the more that you will be promoted to become a manager. And wearing a corporate hat is, if it's not being asked, but I think it will benefit the team, I'll do it. I'll propose it. I'll recommend it. It helps people appreciate that I'm part of the team and I want to contribute for the team. That's one. When you get promoted as well, you need to change your choice of words. You need to change the way you speak. So I would lessen my emojis. While it's very important to be a jolly person at work, you cannot be emotional the entire time. And the reason for that is because we don't want people to think that when we make decisions, it's based out of our subjective personalities. But rather, we make decisions because it's based on company protocols, it's been consulted with other people, and all these things. Okay? Third piece of advice if you get promoted as well. And again, this doesn't have to be a senior position. Any position requiring promotion, people are gonna now expecting more from you. So if you've been doing 10 emails, send 12. If you've been arriving in the office at 9, be there at 8. Okay? Doing the extra mile is always a driver. It's always an indicator that this person has stepped up to the next level. Okay. Joanna B, is it legal? Ooh, interesting. Guys, I need you to wait. We're gonna have a lawyer soon this August. We're just talking to this person uh, to be on board. But let me answer what I can answer in this question. Is it legal to give bonds to those employees given a merit increase? Legal aside, I do think it's unfair. Why? My merit increase should be unconditional. It should be given to me because I have done something amazing for the company. It should not be a condition wherein I will only receive a higher amount of money if I stay longer in the company. That's BS. Can I get an exclamation mark if you guys agree? That's BS, right? What's the point of giving me a merit increase if it's not a wholehearted, sincere increase? I don't know if this is illegal. I do know that imposing bonds on employees is legal if there is mutual consent. Bonds meaning if the company sends you to a training certification and you allow the company to spend for that certification, you are going to be required to spend X number of years in the company in exchange. And if you leave prematurely, you have to pay back the company for that certification. If you give consent to that, that's legal. What I don't think is legal, but we need to clarify that, and I think it's unfair, is that your merit increase is attached to your bonds. That's as if saying that if I'm getting a higher amount of salary, I now have to spend more years in the company. In fact, the fact that you have asked this question because it rings a bell only says one thing: it's dubious. It's something that I would doubt as well. Okay, I like this question from Camille. How to avoid being too emotional at work? My answer here is simple. Your job is just one aspect of your life. It does not define who you are. If you make a mistake at work and your boss shouts at you, and some boss will be like that, pasok sa isang tenga, labas sa kabila. Why? Because when you go home, you're a totally different person. You have a family, you have a pet dog, you watch anime, you watch documentaries, you've been to a lot of countries. Your favorite city is Tokyo. I'm talking about myself, by the way. I'm a multifaceted person. I am more than just my job. The job is just one part of it. So whatever happens to it, I'm going to let it go and I will take it. I will not take it personally. Don't get me wrong. There will be certain instances in your life that it's hard to let go of it because it has hurt you. I get that. I understand that. But you cannot drag your life attaching your identity to it. Okay? Spread your motivation, spread your identity into multiple baskets. This is why, and I'm going to be vocal about this, I'm not that kind of guy, for example, who's into branded clothing. Why? Because I don't want to attach my identity to a branded clothing or to a branded bag because I already have my own personality to begin with. And the reason why that's bad is because if you attach yourself, if you attach your identity to your job, to a brand, to a person, to an event, the moment that person, the moment that company, the moment that event, the moment that Louis Vuitton bag is taken away from you, what happens to you? You suddenly think that you are a nobody, which is not true. but you think that way because you think that your identity is attached to that one thing. Let go of that. You're more than just one person, one brand, one event. You are a multi-dimensional person. Can I get the letter A as in amen? If we agree with that, can we commit to that mindset, please? Gladiators in suits. Okay. I also exercise this mindset. I will not spend more than 5 minutes or 10 minutes of my life on something that I know I will forget in 1 year's time. I'll give you an example. I get irritated because, one example, I just had a client meeting this morning, and the client in the middle of the meeting said, Jonathan, for us to get you as a motivational speaker, could you please prove to us how good you are? Could you please tell us which companies have you worked for? And I get irritated with these kinds of questions. I understand why some people are like this. These are people who do not read properly. My expectation is that if you're going to be inviting me for a motivational talk, have the decency to research about me on the internet, or we've sent you a brochure, a 25-page PDF containing all information about all the other clients we have engaged in the past. My assumption is you should have read this already, right? And if you haven't read this, that only means one thing: you're not respecting the person you're talking to. I get irritated with that. But I also tell myself, if I'm going to drag my entire day thinking about this problem, in 1 year's time, I would have forgotten about it. I probably would not have remembered who that person is. And so I will not spend a lot of time worrying about it. I will move on. I will spend my energy on other things that matter in my life. Okay? Okay. Ooh. There's a juicy story here. Let me read it on Facebook. So this is from Geraldine. And Geraldine's question is, I am planning to go on maternity leave in 2 months. Recently, my colleague has been spreading rumors that he will take over my role and responsibilities without my knowledge. Now he is requesting access to the processes and materials I use for my team. How can I politely decline his request and suggest that he can handle things independently? Okay, Geraldine, first and foremost, there has to be contingency planning, because if you're going to be away for 2 months, the company obviously has all the rights to decide how those tasks are going to be continued. So ask your boss, ask your teammate, who is going to be the person who will taking over my job in the meantime. So maybe it's this colleague, and if it happens to be this colleague, you have to have a formal discussion with this colleague. You have to formally ask your boss, boss, is it colleague X who's going to be taking over my job for the next 2 months? If yes, please let me know so I can identify who to turn over the username, the password, the documents, the contacts, all the future meetings. Okay? Unless you're telling me, Geraldine, that no one should be taking over your job, which I doubt. Because if you're going to be out for 2 months, business continuity is a priority of the company. They have to have someone take this over. Okay? August, thank you, by the way. And Dia, thank you also for your gifts on TikTok. Okay? So I will not be insecure if someone's asking for those processes and materials, but I need to verify that I'm turning it over to the right person. Okay? That's question number 7, by the way. Okay. Okay. Lots of interesting questions here on TikTok. How to deal with a credit grabber at work. We have lots of videos about this. I recommend that you backtrack to our past videos, but quickly in 30 seconds, in the middle of a meeting, if someone is grabbing my work, I will call that person out. I don't want to make drama in front of other people, but I will say it gracefully. I will say it something like this. Ooh, Ryan, you're talking about my idea, right? You know, when I thought about that, what I was thinking is X, Y, and Z. And then you explain the idea further. Why is this important? Number one, you have a group of witnesses who now know that this was your idea. But number two, you're not making a scene, neither are you instigating a conflict because you're saying it gracefully. Number three, because there is an audience, it's going to be harder for this person who's credit grabbing you to rebut you and deny that this is your idea because it is already yours. They can't do this in front of an audience. Okay, so you're putting them into a deadlock. And that I think is a very strategic way to mitigate it. Also, if you keep on letting them slip away, credit grabbing your work, it gives them the power to do it again and again in the future. So the moment you see it, act on it immediately. It doesn't also hurt to do a one-on-one conversation with this person. I'm that type of person who's going to invite them for a 15-minute talk in a closed room or in a very private area and discuss with them that this is not right at all. Okay? Jewel Son, question number 9 is asking, John, does saying no practically recommended to use to save oneself from exhaustion, or is it bad to do, especially when one already earned the manager's trust to do the things to be promoted? Does a worker needs to think twice or sacrifice? I always think that you should be a go-getter. If you can do the extra mile, if you can send 5 more emails, even if you're only being asked for 2, go. But there are going to be limits at the end of the day. Work is not an unlimited buffet. Can I get an exclamation mark if you guys agree? It isn't. So I am a believer that if you explain properly why you are saying no, and the person smart enough to understand that it is reasonable to say no, they will accept your no. Someone, for example, asked me to deliver some slides. At a 4 p.m., the deadline is 7 p.m. I'm going to say no. And it's not because I'm a lazy person. It's because it's unreasonable to request this from a person. So I will explain and I will say something like, Anna, I understand that this is very urgent, but I would have appreciated that this was requested from me earlier. And the reason for that is because 3 hours is not a good amount of time to get this done decently. Don't get me wrong, I can get this done for you, but it's not going to be the best quality of work. If you're okay with that, I'm going to shake hands. But I want to give my best work. I can even say that to my boss as well. Boss, you know me. I'm a go-getter. I will get these things for you. But if you're going to ask these things for me from with a 3-hour timeline, I don't think we'll be able to give the best line of work. Why? Number 1, it also needs X, Y, and Z. Number 2, I still need to ask questions from person A, B, and Z. It's already 5 o'clock. People have left the office. I still need to call them up. Reasonably, boss, as much as I want to do it, I want you to appreciate that these things are not going to work out. Okay? You know, sometimes bosses are just way too optimistic, such that when they ask you a certain project, they think it's doable when it's really not. Can I get an exclamation mark? Yes? I'll give you an example. This was a study conducted in 2013 by Stanford University. They requested a group of students to rank how much do you know about how a television works. A lot of them said, television, so easy. So a lot of them gave the answers 9 out of 10, 8 out of 10, 7 out of 10. And then the examiner in that experiment said, okay, can you explain to me how a television works from the studio, transmitting that through a satellite, broadcasting that to the antenna of your television, and then that entire scene being visible on your screens? Can you rank from a scale of 1 to 10? How confident are you in knowing how a television works? You know what happened to the participants? They changed their answers. From a score of 9 or 10, they gave 3, 2, 4. What does this mean? Most of the time, we overestimate our knowledge. We often think we know so much about it, but when we are asked to give the details, we don't. Bosses can also become like this. When bosses give you a very huge task, a lot of them don't have the time to think about the details. So at the back of their mind, they think this is doable. It can be done in 1 hour. It can be done in 3 days. You have to challenge them and challenge them in a polite way and say, boss, I know we want this so bad, but 3 days is not enough because these are the extra steps that you might not be aware of, but I am also just discovering it now. And I want you to know that we have to undergo these steps. We cannot skip them. So boss, 3 days are not going to be enough. And then that's when you negotiate afterwards. As long as you explain the why, and if your boss is smart enough, your boss will be able to understand that the no is acceptable. Okay? I'm also going to flip the coin. Sometimes we don't want our bosses or anyone who's requesting something from us to be empty handed. So the trick is that if you are declining a person, offer them an alternative that is closest to what they are asking for. Can I get another exclamation mark if you can relate to that? I'll give an example in the food and beverage industry. If someone is asking for pasta, but it's not available, what is the most logical thing that the waiter should do? The waiter should not say, sorry, it's not available, because it's not going to make business. The waiter is supposed to say, sorry, we don't have spaghetti right now, but we do have carbonara. That's the closest thing that I can offer, which I think is also delicious. It's also one of our best sellers, Mr. Jonathan. Would you like to take that instead? Okay. This way, the person who gets declined does not feel that they are being shut down. Offer an alternative. If you think that you cannot do project X, Y, and Z, tell to your boss, boss, can we go in between? I will not be able to do X, Y, and Z, but for today, can I finish X and Y first? Can I negotiate to move letter Z to tomorrow? That's a better alternative rather than saying, I cannot do X, Y, and Z at all. Okay? So offer an alternative. If someone borrows money from me and I don't want to lend them money because likely that money is not going to get back to me again, can I get an exclamation mark if you agree? Alam nyo yan, di ba? Especially if kamag-anak, if it's a relative, when they ask for money, likely it will not go back. It's always assumed to be as if it's a given. So I will not going to lend that money if I don't think I can offer them money. But I will say something like, I am sorry. I'm also bootstrapped these days. I don't have the money as well. But if the reason why you're asking for money is because you're currently unemployed, can I offer you something else? I'm amazing in crafting resumes. Can I offer you my help that I can revise and modify your resume so you can be invited for a job interview? See what I did there? So at least I'm not burning bridges. I'm not declining the person totally. I'm offering an alternative. Okay? That's question number 10. Lendl from Facebook is asking, how do you address favoritism in a workplace or nepotism, especially if work autonomy is being compromised? Okay, number one, I don't think that favoritism is bad all the time. There are good types of favoritism. What do I mean? Could you really blame a boss if the best performing employee is also their favorite? Right? Can I get an exclamation mark again? You can't blame them. Why? It's natural for us to gravitate towards people that make us feel happy and make us feel accomplished. So flip your perspective. Maybe the reason why your boss has favorites is because they're stepping up their game. You're not. And you're being insecure about it. I want you to reconsider that perspective. Now, if you're telling me that this is actually a bad case of favoritism, meaning there's no reason for them to be favorite, it's simply because they happen to be good friends or they did them a favor, then that's when I will call it out and I will say, this is not the kind of workplace that I want to work for. Two things. Number one, I'm going to question my existence. Am I going to be staying in this company for this too long? If everyone exercises nepotism, I don't think I will last and I don't think they deserve my talent. So I will reconsider my stay. Number two, if you think that the favoritism or nepotism has gone to a point that it has been a barrier for people to perform, for people to be compensated fairly, I'm going to call it out. I'm going to call the attention of the manager, the boss of the boss, or also of the HR. And I know it's easier said than done. That's just me because I'm confident to reach out to these people. But I will not be silent because you have two options. Either you just keep it the way it is and hold grudges about it and feel better because you have typed it as a question in Jonathan Yabut's live stream, nothing's going to happen. Me Answering your question will not give you any immediate solution. You have to confront the problem at the end of the day. Okay? Before we go to the next part, can I give away some prizes now? Can I get the letter P in the chat box if you're up for some prizes? The only thing that I can give away is the gift of learning. I can give away some prizes for tonight, and that includes our workshops for upcoming workshops at the SMX Convention Center in Fort BGC in Taguig. I have created something special for TikTok. If you'd like to know details about our workshops, TikTok folks, see, I wrote it down here. I have here the link. There you go. So that's the link where you can capture all 4 workshops. We have leadership, social media marketing. We also have business writing and also public speaking or boost your confidence. Okay. So what will happen here? I'm going to give away tickets to all our 4 workshops. Each workshop is 3 hours and it's going to be 1,799 pesos. But for tonight, we're going to give away 5 free tickets for TikTok users. We're going to give away 2 tickets for LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube. Now, what is the catch? John, there must be a catch, right? It's a simple catch. You can only win the prize and you're eligible to join the competition if you have shared this live stream on your page. So I'm going to give you a few seconds. Please do that now. If you do it, your name is going to have a label beside it that says, Jonathan has shared the live stream. If we do not see that, we cannot call you as an eligible winner. Okay? So I'm going to give you a few seconds. Please share. Thank you also to Persistent for your gifts on TikTok. Salamat po. All good? Okay. So, can I request, what do you think is the category for tonight's trivia question? So, it's a trivia question. The first folks with the fastest fingers who get to answer this is going to win. Thank you to Batis Kit, by the way, also for the gift. Ayan, okay. Nag-share na ang mga participants. Very good. Video game, says Joseph. Okay. How about the others? Science. You'd like science as your category? Health as well. What's a good category for tonight's trivia question? Can I... okay. Okay. Sige. Can I talk about travel? Is travel okay? Math daw, grabe naman. Can I do travel? Yes? Okay. So travel is the category. My question is this. If you're an avid traveler, and I mean overseas traveler, which means you get to fly a lot, can you tell me in Southeast Asia, what is the most popular aircraft unit that's used for most flights? What is that aircraft model? And likely, if you're flying, likely you're going to use this aircraft. It starts, I'm going to give you a clue. It starts with, it's not an airplane brand, ha? It's an aircraft model. Aircraft model. Okay? And it starts with letter A. Letter A. Okay? So, you cannot give me answers like Malaysian Airlines, Cebu Pacific. That's a brand. I'm talking about an aircraft model. You cannot also tell me it's Boeing or Airbus. That's a given. What specific model? Okay? So I think I already have some correct answers in the chat box. I'm seeing that now. So the correct answer, ladies and gentlemen, is the most popular, which likely you're going to be riding, even for domestic flights, is the Airbus 320. The Airbus 320 is your configuration of 3 seats, 3 to the left, 3 to the right, and then you have your rows 12 and 14 that are usually reclining. That are usually in the exit row. Right? So that's the Airbus 320. Now, if you happen to be the winner, okay, TikTok folks, ayan I indicated this so that you can have an easy way. So TikTok folks, if you happen to be called out as the winner, please claim your prize by going to this site. TikTok folks, okay? That's your Same thing also, by the way, for our baliktad pala. Sa TikTok lang gagana to kasi nakabaliktad siya. Okay? So TikTok folks, this is your website. These are the winners now. My winners are Facebook and LinkedIn and YouTube. Please wait for me. I'm gonna give you the winners later on. Winners are, okay, on TikTok, puro Air Asia sagot nyo ah. The first winner is ARD. ARD. The second winner is, by the way, the Boeing 737 was popular before, not anymore these days. The second winner is KN Vidal. KN Vidal. Princess, thank you for your gift, by the way. Third winner is Brian Olmedo 575. Congratulations. Fourth winner is Dan, DANN. And fifth winner is Persistent. Okay? Fifth winner is Persistent. So please claim your prize, TikTok folks. This is the website. Claim your prize so we can identify your name, and also we need to get your email address. You will get your responses on how to claim your prize. Okay? Now, for folks on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube, the winners are the following. Okay? The first one is Ken Te. Congratulations on Facebook. The second winner is Sheng Madera. Congratulations as well. Christine Ong on YouTube is also a winner. And then we also have for LinkedIn, I need one more winner. Nako, walang tamang sagot sa LinkedIn. There you go. Ronald Carlo Medina. Congratulations. You've also won a ticket. So all the winners on Facebook, YouTube, and also LinkedIn, please claim your prize. I am putting it in the chat box. Okay? I am typing it now. Click on it. So you'll be able to claim your prize, and that's how you'll be able to get tickets. Again, you get tickets for all the 4 workshops. And here's the good part. You get to bring a +1. And the reason for that is because I want to make sure that you don't be shy in the workshop. I want you to bring someone who you can tag along and spend your time with. Okay? Can I get an exclamation mark? Let's congratulate all the winners, by the way. Thank you. Okay, let's continue. Let's do the second half. Okay, we can answer. I'm already in question number 11, so we can answer 5 more questions before we end tonight's session. You guys are good? Okay, so for those who have already typed their question, may I request that you can cut and paste it and place it in the chat box again, because I likely have it's been buried with all the other responses of other participants. Okay, let's do that. Oh, Sheng Madera is asking, but I am living in Cebu. How can I join the workshop? Sheng, could you just message us separately? So what we do for those who are not in Metro Manila, instead of attending the live on-site workshop, we give you access to our recorded online courses, which, by the way, is also available. If you have no time to attend our on-site workshops at the SMX Convention Center, you can access our online courses for only 499 pesos. So Sheng, in your case, we're going to give you 3 online courses, which is the equivalent of the price of an on-site. Okay, Sheng? I hope that works out for you. Okay, question number 11. LinkedIn user asks this. How can I effectively address a coworker or a manager in which the way they say no is always by saying the excuse, my team is busy, or I am busy, even if it's obvious that their team is not responsible for the task or the project? Okay, anyone who rejects a favor is implying one message, and that is, I'm busy because I am not interested. I'm busy because I don't want to do it. Can I get an exclamation mark if you guys agree? When someone says that they are busy, it's not because they don't have time. Everyone has 24 hours. Everyone is busy. What the person is saying is, I don't want to do it. I don't think it's my priority. I don't think it's the most important thing to do in this world. That's what they are implying. So, if you want the person to give you that attention, you have to change their mindset. You have to explain to them properly why they need to prioritize this and bump down their other tasks to priority 7 and 8 and bump you up to number 1. That's the only way. So here's where I'm going to question, maybe the reason why they are declining you is because they don't fully appreciate why they need to get the job done. They think they can get away, that even if they don't accomplish your tasks, they're still going to be fine. So proper explanation and proper selling of the idea is absent, I think, in this case. Sometimes for certain people, what rather works is not to explain the benefit, it's to explain the consequence. There are people like that. They don't work well with incentives, they work well with penalties. So sometimes you have to tell to them, if this doesn't get done, these are the consequences. These are the penalties. We're going to be incurring a 5% penalty rate if we don't pay the vendor on time. And if we don't get that paid, that's going to come out of your own pocket. Sometimes you have to explain it that way. Okay? I've had these kinds of clients sometimes. I've had these kinds of workmates. I often tell them, everyone is busy. You're not the only one who's busy. I'm not even going to brag that I'm busier than you. But my point is, because everyone is busy, what we ought to do is to make time for things even if we are already busy. Yes? It's the same thing in personal life. If you're asking someone for a date, for a coffee, for dinner, and they keep on telling you they're busy, not true. It's not because they're busy. It's because they're not as interested as you wish they were. Can I get the letter A as in amen? Can you guys agree? Yes. Diba? If you want something so bad, you will never give an excuse. You will get it done. That's how life works. Okay. Question number 12 from 𝗧cie𝗱𝗆𝘆 on Facebook is asking, do you think applying for a higher position internally is considered promotion when you're the one hired? Your thoughts? No. Getting accepted to a different position is not, it technically it can be a promotion because you're going to get probably a higher salary, but a promotion is only bestowed to you without you asking for it, without you initiating it. It's bestowed on you because someone else recognizes that you have expanded your level from 1 to 5, that you can take on a bigger scope of work, that you can take on direct reports, for example. Okay? So I will not call it as promotion. I will call it as change of role, change of scope. A promotion is a reward. You do not apply for rewards. Okay. Question number 13 from Emmanuel Garcia. How do you handle a situation wherein your leader is always disagreeing with your ideas, even though your ideas will benefit the employees? One of the easiest way is don't just get a no, and don't be satisfied with a no. Hold them accountable and say, boss, okay, I get it. You don't like my idea. May I ask why? What do you think when I said that if we do X, it will benefit us because of Y? What do you think of that? What do you think isn't going to work out with that? You have to hold them accountable. You can't make people just keep on declining without explaining the reason why. Otherwise, they're going to get away with it and they will keep on saying no. And Emmanuel, there is a way to holding your leader accountable without sounding too demanding. It's simply telling them, boss, I want to be better. I want to make sure that when I recommend another idea the next time around, it's something that you will like. But I will only be able to suggest a better idea if you tell me what exactly are you looking for. So in this specific idea, what did you not like about it? Could you please let me know? I want to do some coaching session here, even if it's just for 5 minutes. Okay? Okay, persistent. Because you're very persistent on TikTok. This is question number 13 is asking this. Pwede po ba mag-back out if napirmahan na yung conditional job offer? Can I still back out if I've already signed the conditional job offer? Are there possible repercussions? If it's just a job offer and not an employment contract, no issue. You can always back out. And even if it is a contract, please remember, you can always say no. You can always say, I'm sorry, I've changed my mind. I'm sorry, family problems have come into the picture. I'm sorry, the other company that I was waiting for offered something that I don't want to miss out and I don't want to regret declining it. So I need to backtrack my I need to backtrack my acceptance. There is no crime for retracting from a contract that you have signed as long as you have met all the requirements. Now, what are the repercussions? Likely, you're going to be red tagged. The HR is going to say, this person is not fully committed. They don't know what to do. They don't know what they like. So sometimes there are going to be some HR folks who will talk about you to their other HR friends. And that word might just get around to other people. That's the only thing that I'm thinking about. Otherwise, as long as you're not breaching other parts of the contract you've signed on, it's totally fine. I've had these kinds of moments. I've had employees in the past wherein they accepted the job offer, but something happened to their family or something happened to their lives, or they got a job offer from a company abroad that they don't want to miss out. No issue with me. Of course, it's disappointing because I have to start from scratch again, but that's part of the cost. But I had to let the person do it because it's totally fine. It's part of the game. Okay. Okay, question number 14. Kenneth. Okay, interesting question from Kenneth. How can I encourage my team to adhere the return to office policy when they always have reasons not to, such as budget, family, traffic, and distance? You can always go for both sides, incentives and penalties. And remember, it is the imperative and the right of the company to decide where the office is going to be held. For as long as there is no calamity, pandemic, etc., in most situations, the company gets to decide where the office is conducted. And so if the employee refuses to, that is either insubordination or simply the person is absent. That's what it is. The person did not report to work. That's where the penalties and consequences can be shared. There are employees wherein no incentives are going to make them go to the office. So I would go for the route of repercussions. But if you think that your employees are going to go for incentives and benefits, I'd offer things. There are companies that I know have started to offer free food, free lunch, or free breakfast. It draws the crowds to go to the office. There are some folks wherein the meeting, which is so important, is only conducted in the office and there is no virtual version of it. It draws the crowds to go to the office. So a level of creativity is also required here. Okay? Okay, question number this is supposed to be question number 15, but let's do two more, okay? This is the second to the last question. MJ Dizon on Facebook is asking, I am currently holding a school position for almost 5 years. I was a classroom teacher for 11 years. I am now applying as an admin officer position in CHED. What can you say about that, sir? I'm going to say good luck. I hope that you remember when you are changing lanes from one position to another, you have to be ready to confront instances wherein what you might be doing is not something that you love because you did not anticipate that you were going to do it. Can I get an exclamation mark if you guys agree? MJ, by the way, is adding this. MJ, may installment ka pa ha? I am currently a full-fledged school head in DepEd and applying to apply in CHED for the admin officer 5 position. I was a classroom officer for 11 years and less than 5 years school head. What can you say about that? If you're gunning for a different position or a different department, in this case from DepEd, now you're going to CHED, because you think it's going to expose you to more skills, bigger networks, then go. But again, take it with a grain of salt. The culture might be different in CHED than it is in DepEd. The ways of working may be different in SHED than it is in DepEd. So you have to be open-minded and say to yourself, if I don't like the way they run things here, I will adjust. I will find a reason to understand why they do it this way also. Okay? Always be deliberate with your decision. If it's so, only have two things. My criteria for your jobs is either you don't earn a lot, but you learn so much. Another way is you don't learn so much, but you're earning a lot. That's also fine, especially if you're building a nest. Or number three, the best ideal situation is you earn and you also learn. Can I get an exclamation mark? If none of these three are being met, it's not a company worth pursuing. If you're not earning a lot, meaning you don't think you're getting what you deserve, and you're not even learning, quit. Look for something else that's better. Otherwise, I think you're wasting your time. I think you're just passing time. The point of life is not to survive. The point is to thrive. Okay? Okay, I'm gonna keep this as my last question. A while ago, we've already gave some tips on how to gracefully say no. So I said, number one, explain the why. Most people think that the why is basic, but for some people who are not smart enough, they don't understand the why. Take the time to explain it. Number two, we said offer an alternative. Don't give the person an empty-handed situation. If you can't give them spaghetti, give them carbonara. If you are doing a mobile application with four buttons and the four buttons are not doable, offer only two, for example. Okay. Third tip, which is to answer the question of Reynard, what are the ways to politely reject when someone asks for your help? We have what we call as a soft yes, which is also known as a conditional no. What does that mean? I'm going to decline, but I'm going to give you the reasons. If you meet this criteria, I will finally say yes. An example, a friend is offering a product to you, they're your best friend, and you know that buying their product is going to help their livelihood, but you also don't have the money. So instead of just saying, sorry, I can't, say something like, Uy, the product is amazing. I'd like to buy it, but I don't have budget for now. Can I get back to you once the Christmas bonus or the 13th month pay is given and I will buy it? So you're declining now, but you're giving a condition for you to say yes in the future. It doesn't totally shut down the person. It's one of the most polite ways to let the person know that you are rejecting the idea, not the identity. Okay? Another example, uh, let's say you're the approver, you're the CEO, your employee is asking for an additional headcount because they are lacking manpower. But you also think that they can still get the job done even without adding additional manpower. So you can say something like this: I think that this project can be handled by the two of you for now, so we cannot add manpower. However, if we win a new account and this account happens to be significant, then we can add more people in the team. So you see what I did there? That's a soft yes. It's a conditional no. So you're helping them appreciate that I'm not totally shutting it down. I am not a villain. It just so happens that we cannot say yes yet because the criteria is not ripe for it. That's your conditional no. Okay? Yes? Al, thank you for your gifts, by the way. Thank you for the coffee. I appreciate that. Someone's asking, by the way, John, when is the season 3 of your podcast? I often get this question. Sometime in August and September. Okay, we're in the process of going to record something soon. We're still finishing the scripts, but it's going to be there. If you haven't yet listened to our podcast, it's available on Spotify. You can search for my name, Jonathan Yabut, or the title of our podcast is From Grit to Great. We talk about career and success as well. Okay? Gladiators and Suits, thank you for the amazing time you've spent with me. Thank you for the energy. I'm always going to say that I'm only as good as the people listening to me. So thank you. I'm going to see you guys soon. Uh, I will not promise, but I will find a way to go online tomorrow because I want to catch you guys. In the meantime, please catch us in various platforms. If you want to join our upcoming workshops, that's happening already next week at the SMX Convention Center in Fort BGC in Taguig. You can go to our website, jonathanyabut.com, or if you're watching this on Facebook, LinkedIn, so you see this one, that's where you can do that. Or if you're looking at that QR code, you can also scan that. Folks on Facebook, those are the registration links. If you want to see the entire schedule, folks on Facebook, you are seeing that now here. And then folks on TikTok, if you'd like to catch our workshops, I'm putting here the link. That's where you can catch all the details, payment instructions, module outline, what exactly is can I expect from the workshops, etc. Okay. Thank you for the productive night. I'll see you guys soon. Stay safe and stay dry. Bye.